I want to start today by reminding you of something powerful, something that will shift your mindset, lift your spirit, and give you the confidence to face anything that comes your way. God says, I'm with you. Not just when things are going well, not just when you feel strong, but in every moment, through every challenge, in every battle, you are never alone. Life has a way of trying to convince us otherwise. The enemy whispers, you're on your own, no one cares, no one sees what you're going through. But the truth is, the creator of the universe is right there with you. He's walking beside you in the storm. He's strengthening you in the struggle, and he's making a way even when you don't see one. You may be facing a difficult situation right now. The odds look impossible. The mountain seems too high, the valley too deep. But I came to tell you, you are not in this by yourself. God's hand is on your life. His favor is going before you. His angels are protecting you. The same God who split the Red Sea, the same God who brought down the walls of Jericho, the same God who delivered David from Goliath, that same God is with you today. When you understand that God is with you, fear loses its power. Worry has to go. Anxiety can't stay. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to figure it all out. Just rest in the fact that the one who holds the universe is holding you. Maybe you've been feeling discouraged. You prayed, but the answer hasn't come. You've believed, but the situation hasn't changed. Let me encourage you. Just because you don't see anything happening doesn't mean God isn't working. He's behind the scenes, aligning the right people, opening the right doors, and setting you up for a breakthrough. The scripture says, if God is for us, who can be against us? That means no obstacle is too great, no opposition is too strong. The sickness is no match for your God. The financial struggle can't stop his provision. The heartbreak won't keep you from your purpose. So today, shake off the doubt, let go of the fear, and stand in confidence knowing that God says, I'm with you. He's not just with you on the good days. He's with you in the struggles, the disappointments, the setbacks. He's with you when people walk away, when the report isn't good, when the doors don't open. Because he is with you, you have everything you need. Strength for today, hope for tomorrow, and victory in your future. Keep standing, keep believing, and watch how God shows up in ways you never imagined. He is with you, and your best days are still ahead. There are moments in life when circumstances try to convince you that you are isolated, left to figure everything out on your own. You may look around and see no immediate support, no visible help, and it can feel like you're carrying the weight of the world by yourself. When difficulties arise, when struggles seem never-ending, it is easy to believe the lie that no one truly understands what you're going through. During challenging seasons, the mind tends to replay thoughts that reinforce the feeling of being overlooked. No one notices my pain. No one cares about what I'm dealing with. The pressures of life can magnify this idea, making you feel like you are left to battle against the odds without any assistance. But what if that's not true? What if there was something greater happening beyond what your eyes can see? Think about the times in life when you faced something that seemed impossible, but somehow you made it through. Maybe it was a situation that should have broken you, but here you are, still standing. Perhaps there were moments when you felt completely drained, convinced that you couldn't take another step, but strength came from somewhere, and you pressed forward. Those weren't coincidences. There was a force at work behind the scenes, ensuring that what was meant to defeat you didn't succeed. Look back at times when you needed a solution, and unexpectedly, the right opportunity came. Or when you were in a desperate situation and just at the right moment, the answer arrived. That wasn't luck. That wasn't just a fortunate turn of events. It was a sign that even when you couldn't see the full picture, things were being orchestrated in your favor. It's easy to look at life through a natural lens where everything seems to be defined by what is visible and measurable. But beyond what is seen, there is a deeper reality at play. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like giving up, but something inside you told you to keep going? That unexplainable resilience, that inner strength, wasn't random. It was the assurance that even when you felt weak, you weren't abandoned. The challenges of life may feel overwhelming, but they don't define your destiny. Sometimes the pressure increases, not because you're alone, but because something greater is being developed within you. Growth often happens in moments of difficulty. Strength is built in adversity. And even when it seems like no one is watching, like no one understands, the truth is that you are never truly by yourself. Think about the way paths unfold unexpectedly. You may have thought a door was permanently closed, but then, out of nowhere, an opportunity arose. There may have been situations where you thought you lost something for good, but later, you realized it was making room for something better. How many times have you worried about something only to later realize that things worked out in a way you never expected? Even in the darkest moments when everything seems uncertain, there is a way through. Even when you can't see the solution, something is already in motion on your behalf. That's why the storms of life may shake you, but they can't break you. The trials may test you, but they won't define you. Sometimes circumstances may make you feel like you have to do everything in your own strength. You may feel the pressure to figure it all out, to carry all the burdens, to find all the answers. But there is more available to you than you realized. You don't have to struggle through life feeling isolated. You've likely encountered moments where things could have gone much worse than they did. Maybe you avoided an accident at the last second, or an unexpected favor came just when you needed it. These moments are reminders that there's a bigger picture unfolding. Life's difficulties don't mean you've been left behind. Delays don't mean you're forgotten. Setbacks don't mean you're alone. In fact, some of the greatest breakthroughs happen right after seasons of struggle. Some of the biggest victories are born from moments when it felt like nothing was working in your favor. So even when the road ahead looks uncertain, even when you don't know what the next step should be, you can have confidence that there is something guiding your path. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to see the entire plan. Sometimes all you need to do is take the next step and trust that you're being led in the right direction. No matter what has happened in the past, no matter how many times you felt like you were struggling alone, today is a new day. The journey ahead is not something you have to face in isolation. The weight you've been carrying, the fears you've been holding on to, the worries that have kept you up at night, none of them have the power to define you. There is more happening for you than you realize. The support you need is already present. The guidance you've been seeking is already available. You are being strengthened, equipped, and prepared for what's ahead. So take a deep breath and release the worry. Let go of the fear. Step forward with confidence, because no matter what you face, no matter how difficult the road may seem, you are never truly alone. There are moments in life when uncertainty arises and thoughts begin to create scenarios that seem overwhelming. The mind naturally gravitates toward the worst possible outcomes, analyzing every potential setback, every obstacle, and every challenge that might come. These thoughts are persistent, creeping in when least expected, whispering doubts and magnifying situations beyond their actual weight. It can feel like every step forward is met with resistance, like progress is constantly threatened by invisible forces working against it. In these times, emotions can become unstable, fluctuating between hope and discouragement. One day, everything seems fine. The next, the same situation looks impossible. This inconsistency can make it difficult to trust in the path ahead, causing hesitation where there should be confidence. The weight of uncertainty can feel suffocating, creating an invisible pressure that lingers in the background of every decision. But despite these thoughts, despite the overwhelming pressure, there is something greater at work. No amount of uncertainty has the power to determine the final outcome. No amount of doubt has the ability to rewrite what is meant to be. While the mind may create endless possibilities of what could go wrong, those possibilities do not hold true authority over what actually happens. Think about the moments when a situation looked impossible, but somehow things still worked out. Reflect on the times when all logical reasoning suggested that failure was inevitable, yet something unseen moved circumstances into alignment. Looking back, it becomes clear that no challenge has ever truly been insurmountable. Even the most difficult situations have found resolution in ways that were unexpected. The reality is that struggles may arise, but they do not have the ability to define the course of life. There is something deeper happening beyond what is seen. The difficulties that seem so overwhelming today will eventually become stories of endurance, lessons of strength, and proof of resilience. They will serve as reminders that no obstacle, no matter how intimidating, is permanent. Many times people allow their thoughts to control their actions, allowing hesitation to keep them from stepping into new opportunities. The mind builds walls where none exist, creating barriers that do not need to be there. These limitations are not real. They are only reflections of imagined fears. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every success has come from someone who refused to listen to those thoughts, who chose to move forward despite the uncertainty. Looking at the past, there are countless instances where worry and hesitation seemed justified, yet they had no real effect on the final outcome. Over and over again, things worked out in ways that were not anticipated. Situations that once seemed impossible became moments of victory. What once felt like a permanent setback turned out to be a temporary season that eventually passed. The weight of uncertainty often stems from the need to control everything, from the desire to have all the answers before taking action. But that has never been necessary. Moving forward has never required a full understanding of the path ahead. The greatest moments of progress have come from simply taking the next step, trusting that things will unfold as they should. Think about how nature operates. A seed does not see the sun when it is planted, yet it still pushes through the soil. A river does not know where it will end, yet it continues to flow. Birds do not store up food for months, yet they always find what they need each day. There is a natural order to things, a rhythm that has been in place since the beginning of time. That same rhythm is at work in every life, guiding, leading, and unfolding things at the right moment. Even when it seems like nothing is changing, even when it appears that progress is slow, something is always happening beneath the surface. Just because it isn't visible doesn't mean it isn't real. Growth is taking place in unseen ways. Doors are being prepared to open at the right time. Connections are being made that will lead to future opportunities. It is easy to look at what isn't working, to focus on what seems delayed, and to allow that to create frustration. But if everything were revealed at once, if every detail were visible from the beginning, there would be no need for trust. The journey would lose its meaning. The lessons, the endurance, the strength gained through experience would never be developed. There is purpose in the process. The things that appear to be setbacks are often just redirections. What feels like an unexpected detour may actually be the right path all along. Situations that seem to be against progress may actually be positioning things in a way that will make the outcome even better than imagined. There is always more happening than what is seen. So while thoughts may try to build walls of hesitation, while circumstances may create the illusion of impossibility, those things hold no real power. The truth is that progress is already set in motion. There is no reason to hesitate, no reason to doubt, no reason to let the weight of uncertainty hold back what is meant to happen. Everything is already aligned for the right outcome at the right time. Life is full of seasons, some filled with joy and celebration, others with challenges that test endurance. It can be difficult to understand why certain difficulties arise, why obstacles seem so persistent, or why progress appears delayed. The natural response in such moments is to question, to wonder if things will ever improve, and to feel the weight of circumstances that seem unchanging. There is a temptation to believe that the current situation is a permanent reality, that things will always be this way, and that the struggle may never end. But looking back, there have been other moments that felt just as heavy, just as uncertain, yet they passed. There were seasons that seemed never ending, yet they came to a close, making way for something new. What once felt impossible eventually became a distant memory, a lesson learned, or a stepping stone to something greater. Time and experience proved that nothing remains the same forever. Change is always on the horizon, even when it is not immediately visible. Every person has encountered situations where they thought they couldn't go any further, where they felt drained and uncertain of the next step. But somehow strength arrived in unexpected ways. Somehow they made it through. There was a time when the present moment was only a distant hope, when the life being lived today was something once wished for. That alone is proof that situations evolve, that hardships are not final, and that every challenge is temporary. Difficulties may seem overwhelming in the moment, but they are never without purpose. They are not indicators of failure or signs that something has gone wrong. Instead, they often serve as preparation, as moments that shape character, refine endurance, and build resilience for what is ahead. It is in the most difficult seasons that strength is developed in ways that could never happen otherwise. Consider how nature operates. A tree does not grow strong by avoiding storms, but by standing firm through them. A diamond is not formed without pressure, and gold is not refined without fire. The very process of growth, of becoming stronger, often requires experiences that stretch, challenge, and refine. These moments, though uncomfortable, are not meant to break or defeat, but to build and prepare. Every experience carries lessons that are not immediately apparent. What seems like an obstacle may actually be a setup for something greater. What feels like a loss may be making room for something new. The challenges that seem to delay progress may be positioning things in ways that will bring about a better outcome than expected. Often, what appears to be a setback is actually a necessary part of the journey towards something greater. It is easy to become discouraged when progress is slow, when the desired outcome has not yet been reached. The mind naturally wants to see results quickly, to have solutions immediately. But the process of growth, of development, takes time. Just as a seed does not become a tree overnight, the fulfillment of a vision does not happen instantly. There is a season of unseen work, of preparation happening beneath the surface before the full picture is revealed. Looking back, there were likely times when things seemed unfair, when it felt like nothing was working in favor of success. But now, those moments can be seen with a different perspective. The struggles once faced provided lessons that wouldn't have been learned otherwise. The delays once questioned made way for something better. The closed doors that once seemed like disappointments were actually redirections to something greater. Circumstances do not determine the future. Just because something is difficult now does not mean it will always be that way. The path ahead is not defined by current challenges, but by the decisions made in response to them. Choosing to move forward, to keep believing, and to trust that things are working together for good is what leads to the fulfillment of promises. Even when it seems like nothing is changing, even when the road ahead looks uncertain, there is always more happening than what is seen. The pieces are falling into place, the right connections are being made, and the opportunities that seem delayed are simply being prepared for the right moment. What is difficult now will one day be looked back on as a season that shapes something greater. No challenge lasts forever. No struggle is without an expiration date. Just as seasons change, just as night turns into day, difficult times give way to new beginnings. There is always more ahead than what is left behind. Every hardship is temporary, every difficulty will pass, and the best is still yet to come. There are moments in life when everything feels uncertain. The path forward is unclear, and no matter how much effort is put in, it seems like nothing is changing. The weight of waiting, the frustration of not seeing immediate results can make it easy to wonder if things will ever improve. In these moments, doubts creep in, whispering that perhaps the effort is wasted, that perhaps nothing will ever shift in the right direction. It is easy to question whether the journey is worth it, whether the struggles will lead to anything meaningful. But looking back, there have been other times when things seemed impossible, yet they worked out in unexpected ways. Situations that once caused stress and anxiety are now distant memories. The things that once seemed overwhelming no longer hold the same weight. This is proof that the journey is constantly unfolding, even when it feels slow. Every delay, every unexpected turn, every moment of uncertainty is part of something bigger than what is currently seen. It is natural to want immediate answers, to see quick results, to have everything fall into place without obstacles. But the most valuable things in life are rarely achieved instantly. The strongest foundations take time to build. The most beautiful transformations require patience. Growth does not happen overnight. It is a process that unfolds step by step. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, things are shifting in ways that are not yet visible. Consider the way a seed is planted. For days, weeks, sometimes even months, there is no visible sign of progress. The soil looks the same, unchanged, as if nothing is happening beneath the surface. But in reality, roots are growing, deepening, preparing to support what will eventually break through the ground. If someone were to give up on the seed too soon, assuming that nothing was happening, they would miss the moment when the first sprout appears. The same principle applies to life. Just because progress is not immediately visible does not mean that nothing is happening. Growth is often silent, occurring beneath the surface long before it is seen. The frustration of waiting can sometimes cause people to settle for less than what they truly desire. It can lead to decisions made out of impatience rather than trust. But settling never leads to fulfillment. Rushing the process does not create lasting results. The right things, the best things, come at the right time. Just as a fruit picked too soon is not yet ripe, an opportunity taken before it is fully prepared may not reach its full potential. The moments of waiting are not wasted time. They are seasons of preparation, of refining, of developing the strength needed to sustain what is coming. Every challenge faced, every lesson learned, every delay experienced is shaping something greater. The discomfort of the present is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of growth. It means that things are moving, shifting, aligning in ways that cannot yet be seen. Looking at past experiences, it becomes clear that some of the greatest breakthroughs came after seasons of uncertainty. The times that felt the hardest were often the ones that led to the most significant transformations. The difficulties once faced now serve as reminders of how much has already been overcome. They prove that no challenge is permanent, that no delay lasts forever, and that things always have a way of working out in the right timing. The mind naturally wants to control everything, to plan every step, to ensure that everything happens on a set schedule. But life does not always follow human timelines. Some of the greatest opportunities come unexpectedly. Some of the best moments happen when they're least anticipated. What is meant to happen will unfold at the right time in the right way, even if it does not match the expected plan. There is no need to carry the weight of uncertainty. There is no need to stress over what is not yet visible. Just as the sun rises each morning without any effort, just as the seasons change at their appointed time, what is meant to unfold will happen exactly when it is supposed to. Worrying does not speed up the process. Stressing over the unknown does not change the outcome. Instead of focusing on what is missing, on what has not yet happened, the focus can shift to preparing, growing, and becoming ready for what is ahead. One day, the things that seem uncertain now will be looked back on as necessary steps in the journey. The delays that feel frustrating will make sense. The struggles that seem overwhelming will be seen as moments of preparation. The things that feel out of control will have worked together in a way that could not have been planned. There will be clarity where there is now confusion. There will be fulfillment where there is now frustration. The key is to keep moving forward, even when progress feels slow. To trust that just because things are not happening on a visible level does not mean they are not happening at all. To understand that even in the waiting, even in the uncertainty, things are working together in ways beyond what can be seen. And in time, everything will come together exactly as it should. Life is filled with moments of uncertainty, times when the path ahead is unclear and the weight of circumstances feels overwhelming. It's easy to look at obstacles and wonder if they will ever be removed, to examine struggles and question when relief will come. The mind often searches for explanations, trying to make sense of why things happen the way they do. And in that search, doubt can begin to creep in, whispering thoughts of discouragement, telling a person that maybe things will never change. But looking back, there are countless moments when circumstances seemed impossible, yet somehow a way was made. There were times when it felt like there was no solution, yet things came together in ways that could not have been anticipated. Problems that once felt insurmountable are now distant memories, proof that no challenge is permanent and that no difficulty lasts forever. The mind may try to convince itself that the current situation is different, that this particular obstacle is too great, but experience proves otherwise. Every difficulty faced in the past has been overcome, and this one will be no different. It's natural to feel weary when the journey seems long, to grow tired when progress is slow. The temptation to give up, to walk away from the fight can be strong. But those who push through, those who refuse to give in, are the ones who experience the breakthroughs that others never reach. The most extraordinary moments often come right after seasons of the greatest difficulty. The darkest nights give way to the brightest mornings. The struggles that seem endless eventually come to a close, making way for something greater than what was imagined. The human mind craves certainty. It desires to know the outcome before taking the next step. But life does not always provide a detailed roadmap. Sometimes the journey requires moving forward, even when the destination is not fully visible. That is where strength is built, where character is developed, and where endurance is tested. It is in those moments when the answers are not yet clear, when the resolution has not yet arrived, that growth happens. The struggle itself is not wasted. It is shaping something deeper, something that could not be formed any other way. Consider the process of refining gold. It must be placed in intense heat for impurities to be removed. Without the fire, the gold remains in its raw state, unrefined, undeveloped. The same principle applies to personal growth. Challenges are not meant to destroy, but to refine, to bring out something greater. What feels like pressure is often the very thing that is shaping the strength needed for the next level. Many times people assume that difficulties are signs that they are on the wrong path, that struggles indicate they should turn back, but often challenges arise not because something is wrong, but because something great is ahead. The greatest resistance often comes before the greatest breakthroughs. A seed must push through the dirt before it reaches the sunlight. A caterpillar must struggle inside the cocoon before it transforms into a butterfly. Growth is often uncomfortable, but that discomfort is proof that progress is happening. When looking at past experiences, it becomes clear that strength is developed through struggle. The things that once seemed unbearable are now simply part of the story. What once caused deep distress is now a testimony of endurance. The weight that once felt impossible to carry built the resilience that exists today. Every challenge faced has contributed to growth. Every difficulty overcome has made way for new opportunities. There are moments when it seems like things are moving too slowly, when it feels like progress is being delayed. But just because something isn't happening on a visible level does not mean that nothing is happening at all. The deepest roots grow beneath the surface before they are ever seen above ground. The foundation of a building is laid long before the structure begins to rise. The most important work is often done in the unseen places, in the quiet moments when it feels like nothing is changing. Waiting can be one of the most difficult things to endure, but it is not wasted time. It is a season of preparation, a time when the strength needed for the next chapter is being built. Those who learn to persevere, to keep moving forward, even when progress is slow, are the ones who see doors open in ways that others never do. The opportunities that seem delayed are often simply being positioned for the right moment. What appears to be a setback may actually be a setup for something far greater than imagined. Looking back years from now, the struggles of today will not seem as overwhelming as they do in this moment. There will be stories of endurance, reminders of strength, proof that no challenge is too great to overcome. The situations that feel impossible now will one day be seen with clarity, understood in ways that are not yet visible. And through it all, it will become evident that nothing was wasted, that every step, both the difficult and the easy, was leading towards something greater. No obstacle is final. No challenge is permanent. What seems impossible today will one day be a distant memory, a moment that shapes strength and endurance. The journey is still unfolding and the best is yet to come. Keep moving forward because breakthrough is closer than it seems. Life is filled with moments that test patience, resilience, and faith. There are seasons where everything seems to be falling into place, where doors open easily and the path ahead is clear. Then there are times when nothing seems to be working, when obstacles arise at every turn, and when progress feels slow or even non-existent. It is in these challenging moments that doubt can begin to creep in. It is easy to wonder if things will ever change, to feel overwhelmed by circumstances, and to question whether the effort is worth it. But looking back, there are countless examples of times when things felt just as uncertain, just as challenging, yet they passed. What once seemed impossible eventually became a testimony of endurance. The situations that once caused stress and anxiety are now distant memories, proof that no difficulty lasts forever. The struggles of yesterday did not stop progress. They became part of the journey. And just as those challenges were overcome, the current ones will be as well. It is natural to seek immediate solutions, to want to see results right away. The human mind craves certainty, desiring to know how everything will unfold before taking the next step. But life rarely provides a clear roadmap. More often than not, the journey requires stepping out in faith, moving forward even when the destination is not fully visible. That is where strength is developed, where character is shaped, and where perseverance is built. It is in these moments when answers are not yet clear, when the way forward is uncertain, that true growth happens. Consider how a tree grows. It does not reach its full height overnight. It starts as a small seed planted in the ground, invisible to the world. For weeks, months, even years, its roots grow beneath the surface, unseen and unnoticed. If someone were to judge the tree's progress by what is visible, they might assume nothing is happening, but in reality, the tree is developing the strong foundation needed to support its future growth. When the time is right, it breaks through the surface and begins to rise. The same principle applies to life. Just because progress is not immediately visible does not mean that nothing is happening. Growth is often taking place beneath the surface, preparing for what is ahead. Waiting can be one of the most difficult things to endure, especially when there is no sign of change. The temptation is to give up, to walk away from the journey, or to settle for something less than what was originally envisioned. But those who hold on, who refuse to give in to discouragement, are the ones who see breakthroughs that others never experience. The greatest victories often come right after the most difficult battles. The darkest moments often precede the greatest transformations. There are times when things seem delayed, when it feels like nothing is moving forward. But just because something is not happening on a visible level does not mean that nothing is happening at all. The most significant changes often occur behind the scenes in the unseen places, long before they manifest in reality. A foundation is being built, connections are being made, and circumstances are being aligned in ways that cannot yet be seen. Looking back, it becomes clear that some of the greatest moments in life came after seasons of uncertainty. The things that once seemed like obstacles turned out to be stepping stones. The delays that once felt frustrating made way for something better. The struggles that seemed overwhelming became sources of strength. What once felt like a setback was actually part of a greater plan. It is easy to feel discouraged when things are not happening as expected, but there is no need to carry the weight of worry or stress over what has not yet happened. Just as the sun rises each morning without any effort, just as the seasons change at their appointed time, the right opportunities will come at the right moment. Worrying does not speed up the process. Stressing over the unknown does not change the outcome. Instead of focusing on what is missing, on what has not yet happened, the focus can shift to preparing, growing, and becoming ready for what is ahead. Every challenge faced is part of the process. Every delay experienced is shaping something greater. The struggles of today will one day be looked back on as necessary steps in the journey. The things that feel overwhelming now will become proof of endurance. Reminders that no obstacle is too great to overcome. No difficulty is permanent. No setback is final. What seems impossible today will one day be a distant memory, a story of perseverance, a testimony of strength. The journey is still unfolding and the best is yet to come. Keep moving forward because breakthrough is closer than it seems. Throughout life, there will be moments of uncertainty, seasons of struggle, and times when the path ahead seems unclear. It is easy to become discouraged when progress feels slow, when obstacles arise, and when answers do not come as quickly as desired. But looking back, it becomes clear that every challenge faced, every delay experienced, and every difficult moment endured has played a part in shaping the journey. Nothing has been wasted. Every trial has strengthened resilience. Every setback has prepared the way for something greater, and every unseen moment of growth has been positioning things for the right time. The truth is, no obstacle is permanent. No difficulty lasts forever. What seems impossible today will one day be a distant memory, a testimony of perseverance and strength. The struggles of the present are shaping something deeper, something beyond what is currently visible. Just because things are not happening on a surface level does not mean that nothing is happening at all. Growth often takes place in the unseen places. Foundations are built in silence, and the most significant breakthroughs come after the greatest struggle. There's no need to carry the weight of worry, to stress over the unknown, or to be discouraged by delays. The right things will come at the right time. The journey is still unfolding, and the best is yet to come. So keep moving forward, keep standing strong, and trust that everything is coming together exactly as it should. What is ahead is greater than what has been left behind, and the future holds more than can be imagined.